Today we are going to learn a few exercises to help you break into the world of advanced drumming. So let's jump into it. Hello, my beautiful friends. My name is Gabe Elguera from DrumBeatsOnline.com, a website that helps you become a better drummer. So trust me, I know once you are in the world of intermediate drumming, it can be very confusing to break out of it. What steps or concepts or techniques do you need to learn to take that next step into the world of advanced drumming? And that's what we are talking about today. Now, of course, there are a ton of concepts for us to learn and existing skills that we have that we can improve on to enter into that world of advanced drumming. But in my opinion, one of the biggest things we can focus on to break into that world of advanced drumming is expanding our mind and our drum connection. But how the heck can we actually expand our mind behind the drum kit? Well, let's start off with the concept that I like to call rudiment splits. So a rudiment split is basically just taking a familiar rudiment that you're comfortable with and splitting it up between your hands and your feet. Now, this can open up these rudiments behind the drum kit in brand new ways, and we are really expanding our mind and how we approach these rudiments. So let's start off with the paradiddle. Traditionally, the paradiddle is just right, left, right, and then left, right, left, left. Well, what happens when we substitute out every single one of the left-hand notes with a kick drum? Now we've got something completely new. Now let's use this as the foundation of a drum beat and we can start to build upon it from there. So why don't we play it between the toms and the kick drum? The first half of the paradiddle can be on the rack tom and the kick drum, and the second half can be on the floor tom and the kick drum. Let's hear what that sounds like. All right, so that sounds pretty cool. Not only in this moment are we expanding upon the rudiment itself and expanding our mind, but we are also getting better coordination between our hands and our feet, which is really important. But the next step is to always continue to build. So what we want to do now is make it feel a little bit more like a beat. So let's throw in a snare drum on beats 2 and 4. Now, what we are going to do is when we throw in that snare drum, we are going to eliminate that kick drum that was there beforehand. So now on 2 and 4, there's only a snare drum. But when we are playing that beat, I think our left hand can take it up a notch one more time. On beats 1 and the and of 1, then 3 and the and of 3, I think we can hit a nice strong closed hi-hat to just add a little bit of texture to this beat overall. So now what we can do is start this beat off with the foundation, which was just the paradiddle between the toms and the kick. Then we can slowly add in the snare drum and the closed hi-hat, and then we can speed it up from there. So let's hear what this thing sounds like all together at a few different tempos. Check it out. All right, so the second way that we can expand our mind behind the drum kit is getting comfortable with 30-second notes. I know a lot of times, especially in intermediate drumming, we never really go past 16th note triplets. That's kind of the max subdivision that we'll go in. But if we want to break into that world of advanced drumming, we've got to step it up a little bit. So if you're unfamiliar, the way that we count 30-second notes is the same way we count 16th notes, but we just double it. For example, we count 1E and a 1E and a 2E and a 2E and a 3E and a 3E and a 4E and a 4E and a. That way we are fitting 32 notes into one measure. So for the sake of consistency, let's bring the paradiddle back in and see how we can experiment with it in 30-second notes. So we are simply going to be repeating right, left, right, left, left, 4 times total. But again, let's experiment with this rudiment around the kit and try to substitute some notes out to make it sound a little bit more unique, not just like we're obviously playing paradiddles behind the kit. So what I think we can do is hit that right hand on the snare drum, left hand on the rack tom, then a right as ghost notes on the snare drum, then a strong left hand on the snare drum, a right hand on the floor tom, and then we are gonna substitute out that left for a kick. And then we are simply going to repeat that pattern 4 times played as 30-second notes. So now we are not only expanding our mind in terms of getting comfortable with 30-second notes around the kit, but again, we're expanding it creatively because we are taking something familiar and transforming it into something new. So now let's put this all together and start it off at a slow tempo and then speed it up from there. Check it out. Now the third way I think we can expand our mind behind the drum kit to help us break into the world of advanced drumming is with odd note groupings. I know that odd note groupings normally don't come naturally to us. Groups of 2, 4, 6, and 8 feel nice and comfortable because they're at even numbers. But once we start getting familiar with patterns of 5, 7, and 9, then we are really expanding our mind behind the kit and getting familiar with a whole new world of drumming. So the fill we are going to learn today is going to be a pattern of 5, and that sticking pattern is going to be right, left, right, and kick. Now I know you're disappointed that we're not just playing another paradiddle, but throw a kick at the end of a normal paradiddle, boom, there you have another 5-note grouping. So we are going to play this fill as 16th notes. So we are going to repeat this pattern 5 times and then add on 1 note at the very end to equal 16. Now the way we're going to apply it behind the kit is with a right hand on the floor tom, left as ghost notes on the snare drum, then another right hand on that floor tom, and then a kick. Now we've got a nice little fill that we repeat 3 times. But remember, we always want to take that next step to expanding our mind and expanding our creativity. So let's try to add in one little thing to make it a little bit more nuanced. So what I think we should do is every other time, we should add in a snare drum as the first note rather than the floor tom. So the second time we repeat this pattern, we are going to start off on the snare drum, and then that very last right would also be a snare drum. Every other right is going to be on the floor tom. Now this makes the fill a little bit more disorienting, which I like, but if you want a nice place to start off, keep all the rights on the floor tom and then add in the snare drum a little bit later. So now let's put it all together, start off slow and speed it up. Check it out. So which one of these exercises was your favorite? Let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. And thank you so much for watching this lesson. I genuinely hope that these act as stepping stones to help you get into the world of advanced drumming. Thanks so much, and I will see you in the next lesson. Stay true.